flag is down, and Wentz in for the touchdown. But
you know, it's sad to watch your favorite players decline, especially the ones who decide to hang on just a year or two too long. It's obvious that those players are just shells of their former selves, typically due to age. So, it's kind of acceptable, but it's even sadder when we see stars of our favorite teams decline before our very eyes. So, let's check out 10 former NFL stars who, while still playing, are fading away in front of our eyes. Alvin Kamara, New Orleans Saints. Drafted in the third round of the 2017 draft, Alvin Kamara quickly established himself as one of the best dual threats out of the backfield. His ability to both run and catch the ball at a high level gave the Saints a weapon very few teams had. In 7 of his first 8 years, Kamara has averaged at least 1,400 yards combined between running and receiving. Now, injuries are a part of the game, and the Saints' back has certainly had his fair share of them, never having played a full season. But even durability aside, his playing ability has just kind of diminished as well. The 2025 version of Kamara was off, as he had his worst season ever. Part of that was injury, but there was something more. He didn't look like the same player. Kamara is only 30 years old, so he should have a couple more productive years. But honestly, that doesn't really look possible right now. Perhaps he'll walk away from the game when his contract expires after the coming season, because at an average of $12.25 million a year, he is overpaid for his production. It's hard to see free agency being kind to Kamara, as we're watching his production slip before our very eyes. Carson Wentz, Minnesota Vikings. What the heck happened to Carson Wentz? After a very productive but somewhat inconsistent rookie season, Wentz and the Eagles burst onto the scene with 32 touchdowns to only 7 interceptions, leading Philly to an 11-2 start before an ACL injury ended his season. He returned for the 2018 season, but by the time 2019 rolled around, he began looking like his old self, throwing for over 4,000 yards with 27 touchdowns. Then the 2020 season rolled around, and something happened with Wentz. After throwing 15 interceptions and being sacked 50 times in just 12 games, he was benched in favor of Jalen Hurts, which effectively ended his tenure in Philadelphia. The Eagles traded the quarterback to the Colts in 2021, and then he spent 1 year in Indianapolis, where he played moderately well before being traded to Washington. After struggling through 7 starts in the nation's capital, he was ultimately released. From 2023 through 2025, Wentz spent 1 year each with the Rams, Chiefs, and Vikings in a backup role. In those 3 seasons, he appeared in just 10 games and made only 7 starts. The 2026 season will see Wentz spend another season as the third-string quarterback to the 2 men competing to be the starter, J.J. McCarthy and Kyler Murray, who have both shown that they would be better served as backups themselves. It's sad, but Wentz went from being an MVP caliber star to a third-string QB. James Conner, Arizona Cardinals. Look, it's no surprise that 40% of our list is made up of running backs, as they really take a pounding every single game, and James Conner is no exception. In fact, it seems as if the Cardinals running back will be joining the list of running backs who decline rapidly. In 2018, Conner had a breakthrough season with the Steelers, rushing for 973 yards in 12 starts while filling in for Le'Veon Bell. He regressed in 2019 before having average seasons in 2020 and 2021, his first 2 seasons in Arizona. Although he did rush for 15 touchdowns in 2021, Conner seemed to finally put things together when he had back-to-back 1,000-yard rushing seasons. A foot injury, though, ended his 2025 campaign after only 3 games. But even in that limited time, Conner rushed for only 95 yards on 32 carries. He just wasn't the same back last year as he was the prior 2 seasons. While he is expected to be ready for the 2026 season, Conner has lost his starting role and will be sharing backfield duties with Tyler Algier and Jeremiah Love. Clearly, the Cardinals see Conner's declining abilities, and they're not the only ones, because we see it too. Tua Tagovailoa, Atlanta Falcons. The Miami Dolphins spent an entire season tanking for Tua. What a mistake that turned out to be. The investment in him has resulted in setting the Dolphins franchise back several years. Advocates for Tua will point to the fact that he typically was near the league leaders in completion percentage, including 2024 when he led the league with a 72.9 rate. The reality was that most of those passes were screens to running backs or short crossing patterns over the middle, as the Dolphins' playbook was designed to hide Tua's weaknesses. That strategy worked in 2023 when the quarterback led the league with 4,600 2,624 passing yards. And then, well, the rest of the league figured things out. Tua's inability to adapt has led to his failure to overcome shifting defensive strategies. In fact, this offseason, the Dolphins decided to part ways with their quarterback, deciding a $99.2 million salary cap hit was better than having Tua any longer. Lack of ability isn't the only concern when it comes to Tagovailoa. Injuries are also a big worry for him, as he's missed time with hip injuries, fractured ribs, and of course, concussions. He's suffered at least 4 documented ones. Tua will begin the 2026 season competing with Michael Penix for the starting job in Atlanta. But you know, Tagovailoa's skills just aren't there anymore. Ezekiel Elliott, Dallas Cowboys. Alright, I'll admit that this one might be cheating a little bit, as he's no longer technically playing. He retired after 2024, but since he retired at such a young age primarily due to declining skills, we're gonna include him. In all reality, Ezekiel Elliott is a perfect selection for this list. Bursting into the NFL in 2016, the Cowboys running back rushed for a league-leading 1,631 yards. A 6-game suspension the next year limited his production, but he led the league in rushing once again in 2018. Between 2019 and 2021, the Cowboys had a durable 1,000-yard rushing threat in their backfield. In 2022, it was noticeable that Elliott's skills were not once what they were, and he split backfield duties with Tony Pollard. By the end of the season, Pollard had replaced Elliott as the starting running back, and when Elliott got a chance to play in the playoffs, he managed just 26 yards on 10 carries. Upon the conclusion of the season, Dallas released Elliott and signed a 1-year deal with New England. His time at the Patriots was simply forgettable, and he was unsigned after his 1 year there. The 2024 season saw the free agent running back re-sign with Dallas on another 1-year contract. He amassed only 226 yards on 74 carries in 15 games. At the age of 29, he was done. But Ezekiel Elliott is a prime example of a player simply losing his ability as we watched. Deshaun Watson, Cleveland Browns. Based upon the first 4 seasons of Deshaun Watson's career, he looked like an all-time great. 2 seasons with over 4,000 yards passing, including a league-leading 4,823 in 2020, and another with over 3,800 passing yards. In those short 4 years, he made 3 Pro Bowls as he averaged 3,634 yards and 26 touchdowns per season. He was a budding star. And then, the wheels on his career completely fell off, partly due to injury, partly due to off-field issues, and partly due to declining ability and his limited on-field role. A trade request that went unfulfilled and allegations of sexual misconduct kept Watson sidelined for the entire 2021 season. When 2022 rolled around, the Texans finally granted Watson's request and traded the quarterback to Cleveland, where he immediately signed a guaranteed contract worth $230 million and agreed to serve an 11-game suspension. He returned in Week 13 and started the final 6 weeks, but he didn't perform at the same level, which is natural after missing close to 2 years. Injuries ended his 2023 and 2024 seasons after 6 and 7 games respectively. In total, from 2022 through 2024, Watson played a total of just 19 games. Due to the injury he suffered in 2024, Watson also missed the entire 2025 season. He is attempting to return to the field for 2026, battling Shedeur Sanders for the starting job, but after missing so much time, Watson's skills could have only gotten worse. Austin Ekeler, free agent. The best word to describe Austin Ekeler's pro football career is adequate. He was never a star running back, and for most of his career, he wasn't even a starter. In fact, there were only 10 seasons in which he started all of his team's games, 2021 and 2022. And he didn't reach 1,000 yards rushing in either of those years, or any year for that matter. However, starting in 2023, Ekeler's skills began to deteriorate on the field, and it all can't be attributed to injury. The one area where he truly excelled was catching passes out of the backfield, almost reaching 1,000 receiving yards in 2019. Yet, like his running ability, his pass-catching ability also began to wane. In 2024, Ekeler signed with Washington, hoping that their offense would fit his skill set a little better. That decision turned out to backfire. In 2024, his first season with the Commanders, he appeared in 12 games but only started half of them. Examining his performance that year, it could best be described as below adequate. And 2025 did not turn out to be any better. In fact, it was worse, because during the fourth quarter of Week 2, Ekeler was lost for the season with an Achilles injury. Of course, his performance in last year's first 2 games weren't anything to crow about, with only 43 yards rushing on 14 carries. Austin Ekeler is a 31-year-old running back with declining skills trying to return from an Achilles injury, which probably explains why he's still a free agent. Kyler Murray, Minnesota Vikings. When a team spends the first pick of a draft on a quarterback, they're maybe expecting a franchise player, a cornerstone on which a winning team can be built. If that player doesn't pan out, it can set an organization back years. When the Cardinals drafted Kyler Murray first overall, they were hoping for the former. Instead, they got the latter. Things started out pretty well for Murray, winning the AP Offensive Rookie of the Year in 2019 when he threw for 3,722 yards with 20 touchdowns. The next 2 seasons saw Murray improve, earning Pro Bowl nods in both seasons and leading Arizona back to the playoffs in 2021. Since then, however, Murray's not been the same player. Granted, his decline has been primarily due to injury, but hey, it still counts, because even in the limited times, when he's actually healthy, he's not the same. Murray's not a horrible quarterback, but he's not going to lead a team to a Super Bowl. The simple question is if you had a choice of any current quarterback to build a team with, would you take Kyler Murray? In 2019? Maybe. Yeah, sure. Today? No, absolutely not. There are at least 20 other NFL quarterbacks that I would pick over Murray. Think that's wrong? Well, the Cardinals are absorbing a huge cap hit for Murray to compete with J.J. McCarthy and possibly Carson Wentz for the starting role. That is not a sign of a player on the rise. Travis Kelce, Kansas City Chiefs. Travis Kelce is one of the best tight ends in the history of the NFL and will be inducted into the Hall of Fame when his long and decorated career comes to an end. By all accounts, that'll most likely occur after the 2026 season. Unless something changes. This might sound cruel, but we are seeing Kelce's skills fade away as we watch him play. This really shouldn't come as a surprise to literally anybody, considering he's about to be 37 years old. The decline is natural, but despite getting older, Kelce is still incredibly durable. Between 2014 and 2025, the tight end started 185 out of a possible 191 games. That is a lot of games for one's body, especially one who averages 96 catches and over 1,100 yards receiving a season. Despite being a prototypical tight end throughout his 13 years in the league, his stats, athleticism, and physical abilities will continue to decline with age. Look, Kelce may have dominated defenses during his prime, but he is no match for Father Time. Keenan Allen, free agent. Looking at Keenan Allen's resume reveals a player who might have an argument for the Hall of Fame. Through the 2025 season, he's amassed over 12,000 career receiving yards and 70 touchdowns. He's made 6 Pro Bowls, has had 6 1,000-yard receiving seasons, and has started 152 out of 171 possible games. Allen has been a very productive and consistent wide receiver for the Chargers. Due to salary cap issues, Los Angeles traded Allen to Chicago before the 2024 season. Coming off a 1,000-yard receiving season, Chicago must have thought that they were getting a number 1 receiver for rookie quarterback Caleb Williams. Newsflash, they didn't. Granted, playing with a rookie QB can be a tough go, but Allen just was not the same receiver with the Bears that he was in Los Angeles. After just one very underwhelming season in the Windy City, Chicago decided not to re-sign the 33-year-old, and Allen became a free agent. While he was out on the open market, the Chargers, who had built a young receiving core, brought Allen back on a 1-year deal to serve as a mentor. While he has provided leadership and a veteran presence in the locker room, Allen's skills have clearly diminished. He's currently still a free agent, so it remains to be seen if he'll actually suit up for anyone in 2026. But what other stars are we watching fade away before our very eyes? Are there any other names we should have included on this list? Let us know in the comment section below. If you liked this video and learned a thing or two, then hey, clicking that like button helps us out a ton. And we really appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, then subscribing is a great idea, because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.